Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. Let's move into the NBA because Jokic is putting up these video game numbers. And we got to talk about this cat right here. Should we agree with Mike Malone that Nikola Jokic should not be penalized in the MVP race for winning back-to-back MVPs? Yeah. Now, I'm going to start this one off, Dino. I'm going to pass it right over to you. Because I think for me, the NBA played a dangerous game giving Nikola Jokic MVP last year. We did the show, Dino, myself and you. We believe that Joel Embiid should have won it last year. They gave it to Jokic. The reason why I bring that up is because Jokic is going to put up these numbers every night. The game is easy to him. The reason why that is important, because last year, right now they're number one in the Western Conference. You're going to have to probably give it to him again this year. They're number one. He's putting up numbers. They're number one in the Western Conference. He's potentially going to win it this year, next year. Last year, they were the 6th seed, and he still won it. Okay, so it's like when you gave him the MVP last year, you're almost like forced to give it to him again this year and the year after. Now, my MVP right now, to be honest with you, he's in the conversation, but it's Luka Doncic. It has to be Luka Doncic for me. Let's look at his last 5 games. December 23 at Houston Rockets, 50 points. Okay, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 steals in 42 minutes per game. That's key here, the minutes per game he played, the usage. December 25th versus the Lakers, 32 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds, 2 steals in 39 minutes. December 27th versus the Knicks, I don't want to remember that, 60 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals, 1 block in 47 minutes. December 29th versus Houston, 35 points, 12 rebounds, 13 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks in 34 minutes. And against San Antonio, 51 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 steals, and 1 block in 37 minutes. Not to mention that they're number 5, I believe, or actually number 4 in the Western Conference. And those numbers has been put up in the last 5 games, showing that he's a reason why they moved up from number 10 to number 4. Also, and I'm going to pass the rock to y'all, when you combine the fact that his supporting cast and you look at it compared to Jokic, compared to Jason Tatum, and I know that's your boy, Dino, he's in my top 3. But when you look at what the Celtics did and how they got better and how they improved the depth on that team, when you look at the Nuggets and how they improved their depth, one of the most underrated pickups of the offseason was Bruce Brown. Guy dropped 28 points. We all know he's that gritty guy. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty, get rebounds, block shots, play defense, and score. They added more. Luka, they lost a shot creator in Jalen Brunson in the offseason. Yes, I know they got Christian Wood. But knock on wood, if Luka don't win this award, it's a shame because he should be winning this award. It should be the favorite.
See, here's the thing. I agree with most of it. And most of your take, Lucas, that was a good take. I think that was good. But my thing is, I do think Jokic should have got it last year. And here's why. I'll make the case. Big sigh. As a Celtic fan, against Jason Tatum and for Luka. Look at Jokic's team last year. Porter Jr. was out. Jamal Murray was out. He didn't really have much last year. He didn't. The big boys were hurt for the Nuggets. And Jokic deserved MVP over Embiid last year because Jokic did more with less for the Denver Nuggets than Joel Embiid did for the Sixers. Joel Embiid, he had the whole Ben Simmons thing, but he got James Harden. Even though it's James Harden, he chokes in the playoffs, but we're not talking about the playoffs. MVP is a regular season award, clearly, as the league sets as precedent.
They got him kind of late, though. They got him at the trade deadline. You know, that's like
still had him for like what 3-4 months though. You know, so 3 months, and I think Jokic deserved it last year. People were saying Embiid, but I thought Jokic. And this year, you have to look at it as reversed. Yes, Jokic is literally insane. I had the pleasure to see him courtside at Oklahoma City Thunder Denver Nugget game. I drove up there to go see him, and the way he whips that ball around the court. And the way he makes those plays and those passes, it's just like, it's crazy how he's a 7-foot big man center who could do everything. Like, we really haven't seen much like that. The way he runs an offense as a center, like it's so crazy. And he's gonna put the numbers up week in, week out, just like you said. But now take Luka for example. Look what he's doing with a lesser, like you said, Dallas Mavericks squad. No Jalen Brunson. I mean, granted, I thought the Knicks overpaid for Jalen Brunson, even though, he's not bad, but I thought they overpaid him. If you look at the way the Mavericks played last year, they had, that Luka didn't have to be so ball dominant because he had, Brunson didn't when he had those 2 guards with him. but now he only has one. It's Dinwiddie, and Luka's really just putting the team on his back, and he's doing a lot more with less. So I think if it continues to go this way, and the league is still, it has this trend of where Luka's just, the Mavericks don't get anybody at the trade deadline. Luka's just putting up these crazy numbers like he has been. I think Luka's got to get MVP, man. I think he does. I mean, look at what Tatum's doing with Boston as the Batman. It's great. Tatum's playing phenomenal, but I gotta say right now for me, Tatum is 3. I say Luka 1, Jokic 2, Tatum 3, and Jokic should not be penalized for winning the last 2 MVPs. I agree with Mike Malone on that because it's ridiculous. If the man is bringing the most value to the team he's playing on, why? The thing is, look, I feel like the press in the NBA is if you took that player off that team, how great would that team be without him? I feel like that's the precedent they set with the MVP race in the previous seasons. Like, look at Giannis with the Bucks. You take Giannis off the Bucks, I'm sorry, but they're a playing team if you take Giannis off the Bucks. I believe in Giannis now because he could make free throws better. He still can't shoot threes, but he'd shoot mid-range. He could shoot free throws now. So I believe in Giannis, but I don't believe in the Bucks. Like, I'm sorry, but even though they won a championship, I don't believe in Pat Connaughton. I don't believe in Brook Lopez. I don't believe in Drew Holiday. I don't believe in them like that. Even Chris Middleton, there's times where just like that, for some reason, I just can't see them winning another one for at least a little bit. And I mean, they might come out of the East for all I know, but I can't see it. And going back to the point, dude, you can't penalize Jokic for winning the last 2 because the dude's dog. He can play. He's great. He's great. If he wins it, he wins it. If the Denver Nuggets are the 1 seed and he wins it, I wouldn't be shocked. I might not agree with it, but the man deserves it. He's a hell of a player.
So my thing is this: do we realize it's only 3 people in the history of the NBA to win 3 consecutive MVPs? One being Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, who's probably, I've never seen him play, but he's probably put up the most dominant numbers I've ever seen, right? And the third person is most people would consider the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Not even LeBron James has 3 consecutive MVPs. And we're talking about somebody that's had an amazing career. You know what I mean? So should he be penalized? They penalized everybody else. Jokic ain't no different. Now, with that being said, with that also being said, like Jokic is having he's having a good season, but Jokic is 18 in scoring. 18. I have all these other MVP candidates ahead of him, and they're also ahead of him in scoring. Some notable guys. Luka, like y'all mentioned, 34, 8, and 8. Joel Embiid, who I felt like should have won last year, and you can say what you want to say about Jokic not having nobody, but Embiid didn't have nobody, and when he got Harden, Harden was hurt. That's not the real Harden. That was the fake Harden. The Harden he has now is the real Harden. Harden was hurt last year. If we can't see that, I don't know what to say. Greek Freak, 32, 11, and 5. Jason Tatum, 38 and 4. And somebody else. This team was left for dead. Got all the stuff with the Jewish comments. No shoes now. He got some, I don't know. He gonna get some shoes from somewhere. I have no idea. But Kevin Durant, 29, 6, and 5. And if he was shooting a better 3-point percentage, he would be 50, 40, 90. The man is shooting 56% from the field as a shooter. Like somebody that takes predominantly jump shots. We've never seen that before. Shooting 56%. When you see guys that shoot percentages that high, we're talking about bigs. We're talking about Giannis. We're talking about Shaq. Guys that take all paint shots. But this guy shooting 56% from the field, and all he does, he shoots majority mid-range pull-ups. He goes to the rack a little bit. I got all those guys ahead of Jokic. I think Jokic is having an amazing season, but he's 18th in scoring. 18th, man. There's a lot of other guys that's ahead of him. Shea Gill. I think Shea Gill is having a phenomenal season. And Shea Gill ain't going to win nothing, but, Shea Gill is having a phenomenal season, man. I think he needs to be talked about a little bit more.
Most improved, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
I would say this.
Like, hold on. Can we go back to this Embiid thing? I'm so tired of this Embiid stuff, man. Because look, Embiid, we're acting like Tyrese Maxey's nobody. Tobias Harris ain't nobody either. The man's getting $35 million a year.
Don't mention Tobias Harris. Come on now. Oh, Tyrese Maxey, I'll give you. But up until last year, you probably didn't even know who the heck Tyrese Maxey was. Like, let's be real. I'm gonna be real with you.
It's only like his second year, though.
And to be honest with you, Jokic only got the first MVP because Embiid got hurt.
And didn't the 76ers started to lose games when Embiid was hurt?
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, last year.
But what I'm saying is the first year Jokic won it, the two front runners in most people's opinion was Embiid, he got hurt. And then the second person was actually LeBron. And then LeBron got hurt. And that's when the Lakers took the dive. Lakers was top 3 seed. LeBron gets hurt, goes down. Embiid was killing that season. And then he hurt something. And he went out for a big stretch.
And that's the thing, too. Embiid last year, I believe he got hurt. Or maybe it was COVID.
I think it started losing. No. He I think it was the eye. He got poked in the eye. He got
it might have been that, but he also missed time due to COVID. And it was losing games without him. And when he came back, they started to win games. He should have won it last year. But what I say is, when you talk about value, and I know this is a regular season award, but value is value whether or not it's the regular season or playoffs. It might just show up more in either branch. The reason why I bring that up, when the Nuggets made the Western Conference Finals, who was cooking up in the bubble? It was Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray.
Exactly. So you talk about the bigs, and yes, the bigs in the NBA today, they do have value. They're not the most valuable position in the league. So therefore, he can't be the most valuable player. For me, Luka Doncic, you said subtraction. That's the key word. Subtract this athlete off this team, where they will be. So nobody's being worse than the Mavericks without Luka.
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. And that's why I think Luka deserves this year. But I can't get behind the whole discrediting Jokic thing for the last two because, look, Jokic needed Jamal Murray to step up in the bubble that year. He needed that because Jokic needs that second player as well. And look, Embiid probably does too, but Embiid's got James Harden. I mean, like, it's not Houston, James Harden, and, you know, but that's the thing, too. They're both of them, James Harden and Embiid, are two of the biggest playoff choke artists in the league. Everyone's forgetting this.
But my thing
every time they choke in the playoffs every single year, year in, year out. Everyone seems to forget this.
It's a tough thing. But to go back to the Jokic thing, these are a couple of few notable guys that has more points than Jokic this year. Zion Williamson, who's having an amazing year. This next person, a lot of people saying he's having a bad year and averaging more points than Jokic. A lot of people saying that Kyrie's not the same Kyrie. He averaging 26 points. I mean, what do you want me to say? DeMar DeRozan, Chicago, it's terrible. Toronto,
so
my guy Pascal Siakam, he's averaging more points. Devin Booker, Jaylen Brown, Ja Morant, Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell, somebody I think should start to work his way up into the MVP conversation if things continue the way that they continue for Cleveland.
They're having a good year, yeah, for sure.
I don't
know about MVP, but yeah, definitely. They're
having a great year. He's the best player.
I would say this though, and I'm not sliding Jokic. I think he's number 2 for me. Like I said, my 1, 2, and 3: Luka, Jokic, and Tatum. Yeah, my thing about Jokic, and as I don't even think I answered the question fully about Mike Malone comments and whether or not I agree with it. I think his question or his response and comment is a little bit tricky for me because in a sense, you can make the argument for Jokic this year. But the reason why I started off my take the way I started it was because I thought last year he kind of got that pass where I thought Embiid should have won it. And now they were the number 6 seed last year. You're forced to give it to him this year in a way based on public perception because they're number 1 in the conference and he's putting up the same numbers he did last year, kind of. So it's like you have to give it to him. And it's almost like you have to give it to him every year. He's not going to slow down yet. He's one of the most durable players in these conversations. Okay, first of all, he's durable. He put up these numbers every night. The game is easy for him. He's going to put up next year too. And where they going to be ranked next year? So why not give it to him again next year? And then year after that, okay, give him the award. Make it the Nikola Jokic MVP award at this point.
Look, I mean, I don't know about that, bro, because look, I think he deserved the last 2, but now, I got to give it to Luka because Luke, look, they're better teams than Denver Nuggets last year. Absolutely. You know, the Denver Nuggets.
My thing is this.
But now Luka's a 6 seed and he's putting up these crazy numbers. He's almost put up a triple-double. He's, 33, 8, and 8? That's insane. With on the Dallas Mavericks aren't even a play-in team if you take Luka Doncic off that team. So I feel like you have to give it to Luka. I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to give it to Luka strictly because they're like, yo, especially, look, if it keeps up like this, we got 4 months left. But a lot of stuff could change. Trade deadline's coming up. I feel like you have to give it to Luka because he's doing a lot more with less. Because look, people were writing off the Mavericks like, look, what are they doing in the offseason? They got Christian Wood. Everyone's saying, they had a quiet offseason. Like, how are they going to bear now that they lost Brunson? They just made the Western Conference Finals, and now here they are. in Luke. They're playing Luka ball, for crying out loud. That's going to be a new terminology coming out. Luka ball. But the man deserves the MVP. I think they're going to give it to him. I feel
Let me
like
ask you this question, Dino.
I feel like Jokic shouldn't be discredited just because he won the last two.
Let me ask you this question, right? All right. So with the exception of there was a guy that Giannis, with the exception of him, because he clearly can win the award he did before. With the exception of him, what other athlete, with the exception of Giannis, do you see in the future potentially winning that award? And there's a reason why I'm bringing that up.
Like back to back or just like one?
Yeah, just winning it like one.
I definitely believe Tatum could get one because Boston's gonna be up there for a while.
So you say Tatum?
Yeah, we'll get one.
I think Tatum. I think Luka.
Luka
should get one.
Tatum, let me write this down.
I hope my boy Book gets one.
Okay, I'm glad you brought him up.
I think he might potentially, depending.
And I'm gonna be real with you. If Steph wasn't hurt right now, he'd be in the conversation.
Zion, okay. Steph, you can make an exception for Steph. He won one already. I'm pretty sure if he stay healthy, you can make it.
And Ja is such a polarizing figure. I think Ja can too.
Okay, Ja.
For sure.
Tatum,
for sure.
Tatum, Luka, Zion, Steph, and Ja. All right, cool. So Tatum, right? Let's go to Tatum. Right now, the last time I checked, they're the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference as of today. He's not ranked in most people's number 1 or 2. Arguably, he is kind of like 2-3. A lot of people say 2-3 right now. So if he can't win it this year and #1 seed, I mean, he averaging like how much points he averaging right now? Off top,
he averaging 30.9.
Yeah,
30.9. He gonna average 35. He gonna average 40 next year.
Yeah, but the thing is this though, real Lil. When the last time you seen 6 people averaging 30? Really 7.
That's true.
That's true. But you know, we know this.
I don't know if I've seen that in a long time. 7 guys with averaging legit 30, and 3 of them is averaging way over 30.
And what is Jokic averaging right now?
That's what I said. Jokic is at 18. He's not in mine. He's 25.
Exactly. And that's my point. So he's not even in that top 15 echelon as far as points per game. So clearly, I mean, there's not really. I hope y'all understand my point. So basically, he's not averaging more points per game than 15 guys, 17 guys, right? Tatum is. He's right at the top bracket. So Tatum could put up these same numbers. They could be the #1 seed. He probably not even gonna get it. Because if you gave it to Jokic this year and Jokic put up the same numbers and y'all gave it to him as a 6th seed, and let's say he's top 5, which I continue to believe he will be, you kind of got to give it to him next year. What's the difference? If you go to Book, most people are going to say that you got CP3. And even though that team is declining in a way, so maybe you can make a case for Book.
CP3 is declining in a way.
They are. So I don't even think they're going to be a top 5 seed for much longer in the future. Luka, chances are Luka is probably going to be 5-4. That's a ceiling in the seeding era. So he probably going to get slided away if he doesn't get it this year. Zion, you got CJ McCollum, you got Brandon Ingram, even though I believe Zion's impact is valuable. If he can stay healthy, if he can't stay healthy, I mean, you can't give him the award, right? If you can't play a full substantial amount of games.
Yeah.
So you go to Steph, that's the one guy I would make accommodations for because he won it already. But then Ja, I mean, you can make a case for him. But like I said, these teams and these players are averaging more. So basically, translation, it's Jokic versus Jokic in a way. The way how you giving him this award every single year. When you gave him back-to-back, it became Jokic versus Jokic, not Jokic versus everybody else. So now you give it to him for a 3rd time. My point being exactly, no matter what these other players do, some of them have running mates, co-stars, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, good teams. Jokic is probably going to be the favorite of the time if he continue to put up these numbers and be available on the court.
Well, the thing is, too, is like, look, putting up these numbers, like triple-double numbers as a center, like, it's insane. Like, what he's doing is crazy, and he shouldn't be penalized for it because he's playing great consistently for over these years. But the thing is like, look, the NBA, like we said, is most valuable if you take him off a team once you have. And look, the reason why Jokic is so high in the running, like you said, is because he is putting up these crazy numbers, and now they're the 1 seed, which is crazy. But look, as the year goes on, like I said, especially if the Mavericks don't get anybody at the deadline, they're going to give it to Luka because Luka is the most deserving right now. Because if you take him off that Dallas Mavericks team, they're not even a play-in team. They're not. They're hovering as a 6 seed right now. So I feel like, look, they're gonna give it to Luka. I really think they're going to if it continues this way. And I don't see how you can't. But look, the fact that Jokic is going to be in the running for all these years to come, which I agree with you, but I just don't think that the other players, like, this is their ceiling to win MVP. Like, dude, Tatum's only 24. Tatum's still young as hell. Ja Morant, he's young. Zion, young. All these players are young, you know. All the players we named, they're young.
Yeah, they're
except
young.
for Steph.
Except for Steph. I will say this, though. The advantage that Jokic has had the last couple of years is healthy. He's been available.
Yeah, durable.
If you look at if
you got to be durable.
But what I'm saying is, when you look at some of these other guys, Giannis had had an injury down the stretch last year.
Ja Morant too. Remember, he was in the conversation. Ja Morant.
Ja Morant stayed hurt. Steph get banged up here and there. KD's been banged up. Who's someone else in the conversation? Embiid has only played 20. You know, I was looking at something that's very interesting. Embiid's only played 27 games this year. Steph's played 26. So, you know, I thought Steph missed a lot of games, but
Embiid's even coming to the league. He missed his first year because he's a foot injury. He's always been
well.
There.
When you got a big man,
Williamson, another guy you could add to that category.
Another thing with the MVP race is, look, a lot of it also depends on how well you get off to in a start. You know, I mean, the Nuggets stayed kind of consistent last year in terms of being like the 6th seed. Like, they never really like jumped too much higher or lower. But like, look, I mean, you look at Celtics with us, with Jason Tatum, we've pretty much been the 1 seed like 90% of the season. We're still the 1 seed. And you look at, you know, the Mavericks have stayed pretty level around that, you know, 6 through 8 like bracket. They've been around there. I'm sorry, the Mavericks. Yeah, I said Mavericks. Yeah. And you look at the Nuggets, like now they're like the 1 seed. So it's like, and you look at in terms of Kevin Durant really getting to the conversation, the Nets started off horrible. They were what, like 3-10 or something, 3-11. Like, they started off horrible. Like the Warriors, they started off horrible. They were what, like 8-12, 8-13. Like those starts take away those 2 months of the year, like end of October, November, and probably like the beginning of December. Like that, all that stuff factors in the MVP conversation. That's probably why, like, you know, players like Kevin Durant aren't in it, because they started off so bad and they lost that whole month of like really like hitting there, you know, getting on the ground running. So,
all right, let's move on